It's me, Vera, here to remind you that this is an adult podcast. That means we're going to deal with tough topics. Take a break if you need it, and be kind to yourself, because we sure won't be.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Stitch of Fate, a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition podcast. As always, I am your storyteller, Mike Martin, joined by my four players, Dot, Josh, Mark, I almost said Max, and Bub. So I get confused. Sometimes, Mark, you are Max to me. Deep down, that's
I'm
just
wearing
who
his
you
bathrobe.
Are. That's true. You are wearing. You're in character today. You really brought your A game.
You always
We're
gotta
repping our
wear the
wonderful
bathrobe.
merch.
Yeah, and repping our merch. Nobody can see it, but we appreciate it. We appreciate you repping it. Speaking of, if you guys want to support the show, hey, head over to patreon.com/podbynight, where you can directly throw in some bucks toward the show to help us keep going and get some neat little rewards as well. Or you get over to our Twitter, where there's a link tree, and you can go check out our merch. We've got a ton of merch, including a bunch of different Stitch of Fate t-shirts, characters' faces on mugs and notebooks and all kinds of stuff. If you wanted a little pocket duke, you could get yourself a pocket duke.
Ooh.
And that's, I like
I
that.
pay
Well,
top dollar for a pocket duke.
right?
Come on
Is it
now.
battery powered?
Oh, man.
Pocket duke, dude.
Can we
New
make
merch,
Bub
we need it.
record like little Duke phrases like present the testicles?
No.
Seems
Oh, yeah.
Discord favorite, yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I'll take it to Build-A-Bear, and I'll have them and then I'll shove it in a Build-A-Bear, and I'll dress it like an office man.
I don't
And
suppose
I'll have
anyone's
a-
seen that photoshopped image of that particular meme, have they? Oh, it's Duke
from-
with his hands outstretched.
Yes.
And,
Oh, what?
Yeah.
There's a meme.
Yeah.
Have y'all
There's
not
somebody
seen
took the
that?
art and put like hands in front of it and says "present the testicle."
Oh, no. No.
Oh.
Why are people like this? Oh, no.
Why are you like this?
Listen, it's, you know what's really surprising is the amount of people that have approached me with the not liking people but liking numbers, because numbers don't lie quote. It's a little strange, but I'm here for it. I'm glad people are loving the characters.
Between
everybody
that-
finds comfort in something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you find comfort in tuna salad.
Some things are just they're it's heaven on earth, my friend. And for Duke, it's that.
Okay.
Is that the bit of yourself that you put into your character? Your love for tuna sandwiches?
I mean, that's Kemper specifically likes egg salad and tuna salad sandwiches.
Really?
Dude, egg salad is
what
a
monster.
banging food though, so I'm with Kemper on this one. I love egg salad. It's so good. On that, we are here for our potential final recording of this season, everybody. So buckle in. This is going to be a fun one. Only 3 more episodes to go. So maybe a special bonus episode somewhere in between there as well. We'll see. Can we announce that on this episode now?
It actually
'Cause
was
that's
announced
next,
to the
right?
Patreon. So yes, you can announce it because by now we'll have told everybody.
Awesome. So next week, everybody, instead of getting the next episode, it will be a special guest episode, a one-shot between myself and KP Studios. He will be playing and picking up the role of none other than Kadir. People have been wondering where Kadir is, what happened to Kadir, and that all gets answered in that one-shot. We literally walked into the one-shot, be like, 30 minutes, it'll be fine. We'll do real quick. We'll do some real quick scenes, and an hour and 20 minutes later, we were like, and we're done. So it's a big episode. What was supposed to be kind of a preamble to a regular episode ended up being its own big special one. So that'll be next week. Look out for that one. It'll be really, really fun.
Which means you get 21 instead of 20 episodes this season, everybody.
Bonus epi. Thank
That's
you guys.
value.
Again, Patreon. Yeah, that's value. That's value for your dollar right there.
As Duke would say, that's numbers. It doesn't lie.
Exactly. Okay. With that said, then, are we ready to dive in, everybody? Perfect. Then let's rein things in, set the scene, and see what our coterie is up to. The first sound that greets our ears is that of cawing birds. If one was to look to the midnight night sky as the full moon beams down and clouds pass over, casting small shadows on the ground that our current coterie walks upon, save Duke, as he was left behind to have a conversation The young girl from the Tremere Chantry stops short at a dead-end road where very little cars pass through. A few civilians are meandering by, but they're mostly a homeless population out by this way. And before you, perhaps to Vera's dismay, a large dump site stands. She stops and turns around, and as you make eye contact with the Chantry girl, you realize her pupils in her eyes have returned, that glossy white now long gone. And she simply says, "This is where the trail ends." And she looks over her shoulder to the mounds and heaps of garbage and the wafting smell of rot, easing its ways into all of your nostrils.
Yeah, makes sense. If you're looking for a piece of garbage, you might as well go to the dump.
Maxie could have picked anywhere in the whole city. And he had to pick here.
Yeah, sorry, Vera. I know, the surroundings probably ain't, conducive to, your delicate sensibilities.
Well, I could be bait.
Are you his type?
I don't know if Gustav has a type. He is, a type of piece of crap, but nah. I don't know, Vera. He knows you, right?
Not personally, at least not yet.
Yeah, but he had me under observation for years. He knows about you for sure.
So what's the play here? Oh, and I turn to the Chantry girl and I go, okay, bye-bye.
There's a moment of confusion as her brow scruples forward, and as she looks to you and then over to Max and then to Sava, and then after maybe realizing nobody's going to say anything, she nods and literally begins to walk away.
Oh, wait. Oh, yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
As she looks to actually the empty air where Max is, unless she has some auspex up or something like that, he
She
says,
yeah, listen, kid, thanks for your help. Appreciate it.
She gives a general wave as Max thanks her, and turns the corner at her nearest opportunity, disappearing around a brick building as a few others drunk stumble by her.
So I have a history of figuring out how to track various kindred, and Nosferatu are always the most fucking difficult. Does anyone happen to have a way?
We're kind of sneaky like that.
Yes. Do you have
Here's
a way
the
of
thing.
looking through obfuscates?
I can, but he doesn't know you're here, Sava. He was only watching us until you blew his testicles off, Max.
Yeah, I suspect he had other concerns, like growing his crotch back after that. So, yeah, Sava, you're probably an unknown quantity.
So we make ourselves known, and we trap him. He doesn't know Sava's coming, or has anything to do with us.
Fair enough,
Okay.
sounds like a plan.
What is the plan? Exactly, once we find our dear eunuch.
Well, for starters, we shouldn't expect him to be disabled like he was. He's had plenty of time to heal. He's probably gonna be at full strength.
So in that case, Sava walks over to a pile of crap and starts rooting around for like a broken chair leg.
So we watched, like I said, Sava just kind of lifts his leg over the barrier put in place and begins to wade his way into the nearby garbage as he begins to walk into the dump itself and kicking away some garbage, a busted table leg with sharp pointed wooded ends he's able to yank out underneath a bunch of plastic bottles and cans. They all clang to the ground as he pulls it free.
Just tell me where you want me, and
Now, Sava, you saying that you don't got any way of seeing through, obfuscate, huh?
no, I can see many things, but that is hidden from me.
Okay. Vera, you're gonna be likely the only one who can get eyes on him.
All right. Maybe I can he could give you a signal or something.
How about he doesn't know me from Jack, so I approach, make it myself known, you two hide yourselves, and I'll flush him out.
Hiding myself. Yeah, I think I can pull that off.
Says the empty patch of air. And you actually hear sort of a tearing and slurping sound.
Yeah, might as well be all topped up for this.
Well, I've had one other thought. It is maybe a plan B. But if Sava's inside, it could be precarious.
What's your plan B?
The best way to get rats out of the basement is just to set it on fire.
Oh, I like that.
You know that if you're speaking about setting literally the dump on fire, which is easy to do, you do run the risk of having to roll a fear frenzy when the flames get big enough.
Now, I don't know how you feel around, say, the flames, but if we put ourselves at a distance, he's going to have to come running. Once we spot him, then we can, well, do whatever it is you plan on doing, Max.
What I plan on doing is ending that piece of shit once and for all.
Vera, can you roll me 3d10, please?
Oh, yes. A single success? That's what you're looking
continue. Sorry. Yep. Continue for the moment.
So, just a thought is we could just smoke him out.
Your call, Max.
It ain't a bad one. It ain't a bad one.
What if we, I don't know, what if I smooth a few degenerate teenagers into doing it for us?
Yeah, it's possible too. Though I'll be honest, if I know Gustav, the one thing he won't be able to resist is me showing my face.
That is true.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Vera, as you lift your hands and you say, okay, well, and Sava wades his way back through the trash to join you. As you look to Sava, as it catches your eyes, you, for a moment, are able to glance past him. You see past him a figure dart very quickly for just a brief moment before it stands on a pile of trash about 150 to 200 feet away. It's a small figure, standing and clearly observing, seemingly, the group of you.
Well,
as you catch eyes on it and you begin to speak like you are now, it disappears again.
If we're going to do something, we should do it quickly.
Yeah,
I just caught sight of something. We might be being watched.
Yeah, I think we've been made. So he knows you two are here anyway.
We could go in guns blazing.
Guns blazing. That's kind of my style. Let's do it. I'll be here ready to provide backup.
Oh.
Right behind you. I'm going to start looking for the thing that darted off.
Do you have Sense the Unseen?
No.
I think I'll do the same thing. I'll go with Saba.
Yeah.
Vera would follow to try to put eyes on the whatever.
So are you going to abandon the idea of setting this place on fire?
Not yet.
Okay.
There's always a backup plan.
Just on to see, like, is that, but for right now, we're moving inward instead of
Yeah,
looking
we're going to
for somebody to set
slowly
the
kind of
place.
creep forward. Now that we've been made, as Max said, it may not be worth the sneak.
So we watch as Vera and Sava both step over the boundary separating what's left of the road leading into the dump site. Vera, as the camera pulls back and catches a side profile of the two of you beginning to wade your way through the mounds of garbage, what's the expression on Vera's face? I'm curious how she's handling wading her way through literal garbage.
This reminds me of the old days, Sava.
Yes. There were a lot of very interesting smells.
Just wasn't trash, just bodies. I'm gonna have to take this coat off.
She'll get the wool coat, like she just disrobes, and she's wearing vinyl underneath. She says, at least it cleans easy.
Practical. You know, I did enjoy hunting people with you. This will be fun.
But look at us. We've changed our prey.
And Vera looks as if someone at the dinner table let out a quaint fart, and it's just permeating in the air in front of everybody.
And speaking of quaint farts, Max is trailing behind them at a discreet distance.
Excellent. So he's following then. He's there. And Vera and Sava are attempting to stealthily hide. There's not a lot of places amongst the dump. I mean, there's a ton of places in the dump you could try and hide, but you're clearly walking amongst the trash. And as you reach the top of the area, you're certain you saw this figure. And you look around. Vera, you may roll me one more time, 3d10, please.
Oh, I only got one success that time.
And as the two of you stand atop and start looking around, you see nobody. You can hear the distant beeping of machines piling garbage ways away, and you can certainly hear as plastic gets knocked over, as fat rats and possums make their way around. Certainly suspicious that any of these could belong to a Nosferatu, but you do not see a humanoid or human figure anywhere.
I'm gonna start looking for signs of kindred inhabitants. If anyone's made a little nest for themselves or created some sort of secret hideaway bunker or some nonsense.
Sure.
Sava's
Give
pretty
me
good.
a wits investigation roll.
I can do a wits roll.
I mean, that's certainly part of the pool.
Vera goes, I need a higher lookout.
There are larger mounds, certainly, that you could go and move your way up. Vera would have very little trouble, as much as she looks disgusted moving her way through the dump. She is still elegant and moves through it like water. It's very easy for you to move through.
I have to leave Sava behind, but yeah, I'll take to high ground to see if I can't get a better perspective.
As they split, Max, do you choose to stick by Vera's side, I imagine, or do you go off your own way, or do you stick by Sava's side?
I'm sticking with Vera.
Okay. He'll follow behind you. With 2 successes, nothing immediately sticks out as you're kicking around, looking for potential little, like you said, little nests or what have you. However, I am going to make one more roll. Vera, however, a few minutes later, you ascend the next greatest mound within walking distance that you can find, and this time you can see much more of the dump here. And as you gaze out about the dump, you actually see plenty of humanoid figures mulling about, lots bent over, picking through trash and moving giant pieces of trash, and groups of people grabbing. You can see from here a old busted down washer machine there. There's like 2 or 3 people lifting it and carrying it away. But anything nearby, you may roll me, being up here, one last 3d10.
Okay. Can I add anything to that roll?
If you want to add like rouse check and then add a bonus of the 2d10 that you normally would.
Is it a wits awareness?
This is specific. No, this is specifically this is a sense the unseen roll. Having you roll wits aspects.
Perfect. Got it. I'm going to then. Yes, I will. Rouse.
Okay. Add 2d10, so a total of 5 for your pool.
Okay. Perfect. This seems like it's important. Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4 successes, and you could re-roll one of those dice if you so chose.
No,
It'll
I'll
only
hold.
be 1d10.
Yeah, I'll hold on that one. 4 seems like a decent number. Much better than I was doing.
Vera takes a moment and really takes in the surroundings, noting the myriad of mortals that are about, taking the garbage and picking through. But as you turn back to Sava and you see Sava bent over, him like half deep looking through what he thought might have been a nest, but truly ended up just being a possum's nest. Just behind him, maybe 50 or so feet, somebody stands, arms crossed. It's hard to see the details this dark at night with the distance that they are, but they're clearly glowering down at Sava, not making any moves, but watching. It does not look like Gustav at the very least. It doesn't have the large pointed ears that you would expect in terms of a silhouette. However, you are aware of them, and Sava does not seem to be.
Okay, so Sava's now the bait. So, I don't say anything, and I very, very quietly I gesture down so that Max, who's here, I know with me, can get a general area idea, and I kind of make some hand signals to say it's behind me. I learned it in Call of Duty with Sean, and I signal to Max to let him know that there's someone following Sava.
Max looks over, but without the ability to sense the unseen, cannot see what Vera sees. Vera is the only one who is able to perceive this individual. Even as Sava lifts up and he looks over his shoulder both ways, he does not seem to notice whatsoever. And Sava, as you, again, another failed look for another nest, you can see Vera now, maybe 100 or so feet away, standing on top of Garbage Mountain, essentially, looking in your general direction. Vera, wits awareness.
2 successes.
Okay. As Sava kind of stands up and looks in your direction, behind you, you certainly hear garbage fall, but as you whip around, you see nobody in the immediate area. But you're certain it sounded like footsteps behind you just a moment ago. Vera gets the very uneasy feeling that you're being surrounded slowly.
Slowly but surely. Yes, she knows this feeling. Sava's making eye contact.
Savage just probably looks in your direction nonchalantly before he starts moving to the next suspected hidey hole.
I go, Max, we may be outnumbered.
Yeah, I'd count on it.
How fast can you run?
I can jump pretty far when I need to.
Say to outrun the fire?
Sure.
Okay. At this high up, can I see, are there partially full liquor bottles or something that I could potentially start
That would be another wits awareness as you quickly try to take stock of your surroundings for anything useful, and I know it's Vera's not her strong suit.
Let's see if she finds anything. What have I got on me? Like nothing, because I'm in a vinyl suit. I go, Max, we need a plan quickly. And I gesture to Sava to like, I go, keep walking.
Is Sava like really paying attention up to Vera, or is he too busy now looking in like his next rat's nest, hoping that this one has some evidence of a Nosferatu?
Yeah, Sava's just looking at Vera and sees her doing some twiddly thing, is just starts moving.
He wanders off and starts looking in another direction.
Yeah, he's not moving very quick.
Max, you roll a wits awareness with the 2 successes. You could re-roll 3 of those if you choose to use a willpower, your choice.
Yeah, let's re-roll this.
Give me 3d10. Unfortunately, no additional successes. So as Max scrounges around, also looking for alcohol, he is able to find a bottle of vodka. It's a plastic bottle of vodka that at the very bottom has like this much booze in it. It's a very small amount, enough that would do a quick burn. So Max lifts up, he stands up from like quickly looking around in the area, pulls a plastic bottle of like Kettle One, and has just a tiny bit of vodka at the very bottom.
I'll press that into Vera's hand.
Vera grabs for something that maybe is fabric on her. Maybe the hat.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some.
Max has plenty of tattered fabric.
Oh,
so,
perfect.
Yeah,
she takes that.
As he hands over, he's basically already got a strip of cloth stuffed into the bottom of the bottle and to form a wick.
She goes, well, you have the fire, Max.
And you also get a lighter pressed into your hand.
Great.
And as the lighter is pressed into your hand, and maybe you click open the top of the Zippo, a voice from the distance shouts up in your direction. Not from behind you, not from where Sava is, but closer to where the entrance was, where you walked in. You see somebody stepping over the boundary. Hey! Hey! And as maybe you look in that direction curiously, yeah, you! Yes, you! And it starts wandering. It's like, and he starts with both his arms reaching out and gesturing for Vera, who he looks at, because he can't see Max, to come to him. As you hold this vodka and lighter in your hand.
I got you, Vera.
Sava, you hear that, obviously. You can hear this person.
Well, I might as well go join the riffraff. I have a name.
We'll be really glad to hear it. As do you start coming down, or do you make him walk up to you?
I get to the nearest top of one of the hills and stare down at them.
As you get to one of the a nearby mound, maybe stepping on top of a busted bureau that once belonged to a bedroom from 50 years ago. This person stands a couple feet below you, and as you get a good look, they've got scraggly hair, almost bald, like balding, but a bad comb over with it all sticking out everywhere. He's got a very patchy beard, and he's kind of grime all over his blue jumpsuit that looks like a mechanic jumpsuit. There is no name tag on the front, however, nor a symbol of any company. It's just a plain blue jumpsuit. And he's like, so do you want to, tell me who's here? Isn't it custom to, where you're still poking around in other people's territories to start announcing your arrival?
Well, as long as they're not harboring, say, our enemy.
Oh, everybody's got enemies in this city, lady.
How about this? Instead of me lighting this bottle of vodka on fire, we could save it and I could drink it with you as long as you plan to be polite.
I'm going to set this domain on fire?
It was a plan. That hasn't been enacted yet. I guess what I'm saying is we're looking for someone. You can hand them over, or I guess it might get messy.
Are you new? Licks? Something along those lines? You guys could get your heads taken off for the shit you're saying right now.
I think we're a bit desperate.
We don't like desperate out here. Who are you looking for? Maybe we can help you. If I can't, he shrugs, then I can't. But, what's going on? Who's the enemy?
I kind of glance over my shoulder to empty air.
There's a moment where he, looks back to where you shrug and then looks back to you with an extremely confused view.
We have, interest in someone we believe is hiding here. Yeah. Has some large ears and tends to be a little, kept to himself.
Well, I think that basically describes 80% of the Nosferatu in the city, so we're narrowing it down.
Great. Since you're throwing around words so blatantly. He goes by the name of Gustav, or potentially did.
As the name Gustav falls from your lips, his eyes widen a bit, and he just has a big toothy grin. Oh, well, might have some problems. This is his domain.
Oh, see, that's funny that you want to talk to me about manners and domain politics when he waltzed right into mine and started a war. So, me and mine have every right to be here to accept what is coming to him.
As you say, you kind of make these exclamations. That's just some grand claims, lady. You have evidence? Maybe we can bring it up to the prince and have, a formal dispute about it. Bring it into court as it's supposed to. I don't think you have the evidence to suggest such a thing happened.
And who says I don't?
Well, if you do, why are you here trying to burn this place down instead of going to the prince?
Because Gustav is still hiding out like a little rat.
Man has business to tend to.
Yes.
It's New York. City
Well,
that never
then he
sleeps.
can come show his face to us now,
He shakes his head. I don't think that's going to be possible, especially that now I know his enemies are here.
Yes. Well, then I guess we're just going to have to play this the hard way. You have a name?
I do? You?
Oh, yes. Vera.
Good to meet you, Vera. If you want to leave and maybe we can take this up at Elysium is in a few nights, maybe that'd be best where to bring up some grievances politically.
Oh, yes. I imagine Elysium will be quite the event.
That usually is. I'm sorry, I can't help you. I don't know what you want me to say. I'm not going to go get Gustav to somebody who's looking to, as he gestures at the lighter, burn the place down and suggest violence if they don't get their way.
You seem like a smart boy, and since you refuse to give over your name, I'll continue to call you such. Consider who you're getting into bed with. Gustav is at the losing end of something that is much larger than you. So you can throw around all the terminology you want and try to belittle me, but in the end, you are going to lose. So tell Gustav. We'll see him at Elysium.
I'll be sure to pass along the message. I'm sure he'll be thrilled to hear from Vera.
If he'd like to talk before then, he can show up where it all started. He'll know exactly what that means.
I'm sure he will. Again, I promise I'll pass along the message. It is my honor-bound duty and all that, but I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I don't think he would like you here any longer.
Vera removes the, dirty rag and tosses it down, at him.
It lands, right at his toes.
Downs the rest of the vodka from the bottle until it's empty. And then tosses that at him as well. Well...
The bottle hits his shins, clambers to the ground. He looks down at it, back up at you. You can see that kind of demeanor, that the demeanor who's holding cracks just a little bit as there's an obvious look of annoyance now that crawls across his face as that bottle hits him. But he bites his tongue and watches and hopefully just waits for you to walk and leave.
Sava! I shout out to the dark distance. I know he's hiding in the shadows somewhere.
He's off doing something. He's poking his head up. He's got baby rats in his hand. I've been killing them just to be sure.
Never liked rats.
Sava pokes his head up as Vera shouts.
Loud enough, where he can definitely hear me. No hiding anymore. We're going home.
Okay, you want a raccoon? I found a raccoon.
As he lifts it up with his only other hand. And it's kicking and screeching.
By the scruff of its neck.
It's just screeching and kicking, but it's rather large, so it's having a hard time actually putting up a fight. It's been living well in the dump.
I don't know what you eat these days.
We only adopt kindred. No
okay,
pets.
Who's this joker? I woke up.
Well, I would like to be able to introduce you, but he's been rather rude and refused to give me his name, so...
Just consider me the doorman.
Yes, the doorman. He has, used his power to ask us to leave.
Oh, yes, that thing I definitely recognize. I throw a raccoon at him, and see you later.
He skirts out of the way as it comes flying at him as the raccoon for a moment seems like it might want to attack him and then realizes it's much too scared before it runs to the nearest hole.
Yeah, and
the two of you walk by him wordlessly, and does Max follow?
Max is sticking right by this guy.
I think
Vera,
Max
however,
and Sava have a very similar plan in we'll just follow him.
Yeah. They don't know so far. I don't think they know Max is here. So Vera's just gonna go. She knows. She set it up to make a big deal to fucking leave so that Max could do what he needed to.
So the camera will initially follow Vera and Sava as they leave. And as they step over and back onto the sidewalk and maybe round the corner just to make good show that they are truly leaving and not waiting for anybody weirdly. Is there any conversation the two of you have, or does the camera then blur shift back?
I just simply say, Sava, I've had an idea.
Yes.
What if we don't stop Father and simply set up those we want to get rid of?
Sounds good to me. I don't care about any of them.
Come, let's get a good show. I imagine we're going to need a car to get out of here.
Oh shit, actually, you point out the rich and important ones. I'll save their life.
Some things never change. Come on. And I'm going to walk way around, if I can, this junkyard to get some distance, but be around in case things go bad for Max. He's got some backup, basically.
Yeah. You could even make your way to a roof if you so chose. To at least have a good view of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to start melting into the shadows and following her.
Yeah, as the camera sticks, we see them walk around a corner, and as it blurs away, we'll see two silhouettes on top of a roof nearby as the camera flies its way back over the buildings and what's left of the city skyline before making its way back into the dump. We return to the gentleman watching them walk away, Max being nearby, and as they walk away, he lets out a large sigh. His posture crumples a little bit, and he leans a little forward, and he scratches the back of his head. Fucking hate this shit. Turns around, and Max, you watch him wave at somebody. You're not entirely sure as you look over in that direction because you don't see anything over there. But eventually, as he walks and you follow, that whoever he must have waved to appears. It goes rippling within to existence, very similar to how you do it. about 10 feet away, a Nosferatu that you do not recognize stands before you. He does not carry any of the physical features that Gustav carries, so perhaps Max believes that they are not his kind or his child in that regard. However, this one has many of the traditional features of a Nosferatu: the leathery skin, the rows of sharp teeth, the tight skin around their faces with very little muscle to give a corpse-like appearance, and entirely bald. He snarls a little bit and spits on the ground as he ripples into existence, and the gentleman that you now believe is mortal shakes his head. Vera, the one that, and the guy just kind of, the Nosferatu rather, kind of just grunts at the name Vera. Yeah, that one, I think. I'm just going to go let him know and just keep an eye out, make sure they don't return. Let the others know too. I don't think she's going to come back, but just in case, don't give them a second chance and just take their heads off. The Nosferatu once again kind of grunts. You hear his teeth grind a little bit before he takes a single step and he's gone. This guy once again now continues his march deeper and deeper into the dump. I'm assuming Max literally says nothing other than simply following. He does not attempt to interfere. He does not attempt to attack him prior. And you walk for a good 10 to 15 minutes over mounds and mounds of stuff. Piles of plastic bags filled with clothes, other ones filled with broken glass and plastic. Loads of furniture that once belonged to many loving homes, now broken in half, rotted over the years, and picked through over and over again. But eventually you come to a car, an abandoned vehicle that has only one of its 4 tires. All of its doors have been taken out, and the insides of this thing have been gutted completely. However, it still has its seats, and this person leans in. He pulls the handle to the front driver's seat, and then places his left hand under the driver's seat, his right hand on the other side, and with a hard tug, it comes loose. He hoists it off to the side, and as you look over his shoulder, you can see a little hovel leading somewhere underground. You can see some flickering light from coming out from underneath, illuminating the car, but he reaches forward again, pulls another plastic handle, and you can hear something snap as he mumbles to himself, God damn it. And then he pulls the passenger seat out as well, brings it back a little bit and places it on top of the other one. And now, where once the driver and passenger seat were, are a small hole about the size of the length of the car and the width of what the seats would be. All garbage on the underneath as well. You don't see any dirt. You just see what would be like a smooth drop down. And he lifts his leg over, then his left leg over, and he holds himself with both his hands and hovers for a minute on the dashboard and the ground before he lets it go, and you watch him drop down into the hole. He doesn't seem like he drops far. You hear him hit the ground relatively soon after he lets go, but he does drop like at least a head's length beneath it. Does Max follow there as well?
Yeah, gonna not use the rungs, but do like a soaring leap down, essentially. Wait until he's out of the way, clearly, so I don't land.
Yeah, of course. You hear his footsteps first, and you even peer down into the hole to see, at the bottom, a little patch of dirt. And that's where you lift yourself and you land there as well.
Yeah, and of course, landing silently, completely.
Of course, 100%. And as you stand there, you realize you're going to have to crouch down here. This is maybe a 4.5 foot tall, very narrow hallway. You'll need to turn your shoulders to follow this guy as he's hunched over and turned to his side slightly as well. And at the very, very end of it, there's no door, but you can see a little opening that seems to lead a little further down, but into what is clearly a much larger living space or area. As you get closer and you watch him climb through the hole and drop down another 6 inches before he lands and walks out of the way, you can actually see a large plastic fold-out table sat in the center with what seems to be a New York map sat on top. You see markers, red and black, laying on the table itself, and you see a figure pacing back and forth over it. He's looking at it, and before looking over at the figure who jumped in, and through what little light is sat in here, beyond this bare plastic table, you can see who is very clearly Gustav, standing there, looking over the table itself. As he looks up, gives a wave, but doesn't say anything. There's some words spoken before he's waved away. Do you go into that room? Do you want to like make your way fully in?
I'm basically trailing this guy. So I'm also the sawed-off shotgun with the Dragon's Breath rounds is loaded and at the ready.
I need to make a roll real quick. Okay. Can you make me a dex stealth check, please? Yes, I know you're invisible, and yes, I know you don't make any noise.
No worries.
Holy shit. Well, and you could re-roll one of those dice if you wanted to, but you rolled 5 successes. Son of a bitch. There's a moment where you see Gustav snap up, and he looks in the direction of the hole. His eyes squint for a moment, but then his attention goes back to the person in front of him. He finishes speaking to them, and like I said, he waves him away. As he's walking past you to leave, Max, Gustav turns back to the table, and you see him staring at the New York map again. And as you look over it, you can see just an enormous amount of marker, like things all over it. Signatures here, scratch-off marks there, areas and city blocks circled in other directions, some in different colors, a blue one here, a red one over here, lots of black ones. But it doesn't make sense to you just looking at it. It doesn't seem to make any, unless you were to have to like study this or even, you know, talk about it with others, it really doesn't make any sense just glancing at this thing. But he stares at it wordlessly, leaning both of his elbows down, and he certainly seems to be healed and intact. It has been a year since you've last seen him.
And I can't really discern what's going on with this.
Not at first glance. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be. There's like a lot of just like scribbles and circles and little random things written here and there.
Okay. Where is Gustav? What's his position?
He's standing next to the table, arms and hands down on the plastic table, leaning over it, looking at the New York map.
Okay. Can I get in a position where I've essentially got the muzzle of the shotgun, like, right at his crotch?
Yeah, you can. You can definitely put yourself in a position there.
Okay.
I need you to make me a wits obfuscate plus obfuscate roll. I will also remind you, because it's probably something you might have slipped your mind, you could also spend a rouse check and add 2d10 to that roll on top of it, because you can rouse the blood and give yourself a bonus.
I'm going to do that.
If you want to. So, okay, if you want to do that, that'll be, I'll have you roll 2 extra d10, and do you want to re-roll 2 of those dice with a willpower?
Let's see here.
You are able to maneuver your way in a position where you level the gun at his crotch. There is a moment where you think you see his left ear twitch, but he pays it no mind.
Okay. Gustav will then feel, basically, the muzzle making, just sort of like being nestled into his testicles. As he hears a familiar voice say,
"Hey, Gustav, what's the rumpus?"
And as those words fall from Max's lips into existence on the other side of the table, Max appears. And underneath
and if
the
he makes
shotgun,
any move, that gun is going off.
And under the table, we can see as the camera pans down to Max, we see his hand holding the sawed-off shotgun as the shotgun goes under the plastic fold-out table, leveled right into his crotch. And Gustav, for what it's worth, holds his surprise. His eyes look up from the table, but he doesn't make any sudden moves. He maintains eye contact, but waits for you to speak.
So, dividing up the pie, huh?
It's good to see you, my boy.
It's really good to see you, Gustav. I've been wondering how you been.
I knew you would have survived. You caught me by surprise both times. I am impressed. I've taught you well.
Yeah, I'm full of surprises.
How is Stinky doing?
She's doing just fine, don't you worry.
Good. Before we make any sudden decisions, then, perhaps we should have a conversation, Max.
Yeah, I thought about just blowing you away. but I wanted to have a few words. Number one, what's your deal with father, huh?
Suitable business partners in suitable times. Useful.
Interesting. You never struck me as the kind to want to bring down the cam, Gustav. You like to play both sides of the fence.
He moves his head back and forth and gives a subtle shrug before just looking back up at you. Sometimes new times call for new strategies, and the Camarilla in New York has had a hard time holding on. Stability isn't something it's seen very often. If I can help bring stability, perhaps I can benefit from it, as you might be able to too if you want to. And he gestures to the map. Perhaps we can work together again.
Well, give me a pitch, Gustav. What exactly do you think that you could offer me that I would want more than seeing you dead?
He smiles. To be completely honest, I don't think there is anything.
Smart.
If I know you as well as I think I do, you're a vengeful, spiteful son of a bitch.
Yeah, well, takes one to know one. You know, Gustav, I'm not even that pissed off about what you did to me all those years ago. Seeing things from your side, you woke up starved, not knowing where you were. Turning me, I suppose that was the smart play. But what I can't forgive is what you took from me. My friends, people I loved. I suppose I could let bygones be bygones. Hear you out. Listen to what you have to say. But you know something? That'd make me as big a piece of shit as you. Let me ask you something, Gustav. Stinky. Where'd you take her from?
I don't know what you mean.
What life did you take her away from?
A pathetic one that was dead-ended and leading to nowhere. I gave her potential like I gave you potential for all the things you think I took from you. Think about everything you've gained because of the decision I made that night. Where you stand now, the lives you've been able to help. The mortals that you taken good care of, you never would have been able to do so had I not turned you that night.
Like I said, Gustav, that ain't what this is about.
Stinky will go on to do great things, I'm sure, if she doesn't die first.
You don't worry about her. She ain't your concern no more.
I'm happy you have her. So what is this about then? If it's not about those decisions I made or the life I ripped you from, or even Stinky. Why kill me?
Think about what you made me do when I was bound to you. That's bad enough.
He shakes his head. If I hadn't made you do those things, somebody else would have.
Yeah. And what about all them kids? My haven. My pets.
Who do you have to blame there but yourself? You brought them into this life. You gave them your blood. You had them work for you. You put them in the line of fire.
The line of fire. Funny you should mention that, Gustav. You know how you said I was full of surprises? Here's another one.
As you say, I'm full of surprises, and the trigger gets pulled. The camera instantly cuts to the rooftop. Next to Vera's face, a nice profile shot. And Vera, you hear, as you attune to the heightened senses and you're able to mute out the rest of the world and truly focus on hopefully what's coming in a certain direction, you hear a definitive shotgun blast. We see Sava, you watch as Veer's head perks up for a moment.
I probably smile very, very big. And then I say, he found him.
Let's go.
As they say, as those two lines are spouted, we watch the two of them kind of elegantly step off the roof, heading down to the road, probably looking for a vehicle as the camera once again cuts. And this time we're back underneath again. We can see the lingering embers of the dragonfire rounds in the air before they dissipate and fall as nothing but ash. And a good foot away from the table, where Gustav once stood, a bottomless, legless torso collapses to the ground. His legs instantly dust away as you blast, turning to ash and staining the ground behind him, and he lands on his back with a ah! He reaches up with his hands, and you can watch as he very slowly looks up to you with nothing but pure hatred in his eyes. Perhaps the first time you're seeing what he truly thinks about you, physically, openly, on his face. But he opens his mouth to say something, and as he does, you watch his teeth begin to turn to ash. His lips crackle back, and all of his skin dust in front of you. You can hear footsteps coming from behind you very quickly.
Gonna obfuscate, I reckon.
All right, please go ahead and make me a rouse check, as you'll need to move. And as you turn around, and as the camera pulls back from the body, going over the shoulder of Max, getting a back shot of Max as we hear the footsteps coming from behind him. As Max whips around, and we can see the flare of the end of the shotgun's muzzle still slightly red hot from the dragonfire rounds. As Max whips around to look at the hallway, that's when he disappears from our view. And the camera turns to watch this figure in the blue jumpsuit run back into the room and quickly look around and panic before he steps forward and seems to realize what happened. Does Max stick around, or he just walk past him and leave?
I'm actually going to follow him. I assume he's going to run out of here, so I'm basically going to follow him out.
Yep. As soon as he realizes what happened, he for a moment, his hands go through his hair, and he just like, fuck, no fucking way, and he turns around, and he just starts clambering out through the hole as best he can. He shoves two fingers in his mouth and gives a sharp.
Right. So once we are clear of the Max basically just walks away.
Right.
Yeah, he's not looking back. If there was an explosion, he would not turn around to look.
The camera follows this invisible figure as though we're looking at your face, but behind you we can see that the mortal figure all of a sudden speaking to two others that seem to ripple into existence, getting further and further away, quieter and quieter until they're out of focus. And as we turn the camera once more, Max is stepping over the boundary, though we can't see it, and around a corner, a car rips around. Sat in the driver's seat, Vera or Sava. Who would be driving?
Sava, a good driver.
Yeah, I can't imagine Vera driving herself. Yeah.
Okay, great. I make Sava do it.
Yeah, I just didn't know if you would make Sava do it or not. That's fine. And as they do so, the back passenger door gets thrown open by an invisible force before you can feel the car sink under the weight of Max, the door shut, and the car spins off to the distance. As the car drives off, the camera will stick at the dump. You get smaller and far and further into the distance until the camera, as always, cuts to black. And we'll see you next week for the penultimate episode, everybody. Goodbye.
Hi there, mortals. Thanks for tuning in. It's your dear Vera Volkov, and I'm here to tell you that the club is undergoing a few renovations after a little accident, and we could use all the resources to get us back on our feet. You can help us by either joining our Patreon or getting your hands on an official Stitch of Fate or Drakpack t-shirt by visiting TeePublic and searching Pod by Night. Well, go on. What are you waiting for?